Hello there, good to see you and thank you for clicking. Now on this video, perhaps you've ever heard of people saying that money is spiritual, and maybe you've never heard of that. Then today's the day that I'm going to explain to you that exactly money is spiritual. Perhaps you've been applying the wrong energy towards money, and this is the secret that a lot of wealthy people know that, but they never share it out. And let me share it with you. So watch this video to the end so that you understand exactly what are these 5 secrets that the wealthy knows that money is spiritual, and what exactly do they do. All right. And did you know this, that I usually post a video each and every day? So if you would like not to miss any piece of my video, this is what I want you to do. It is free, doesn't cost you anything, takes only 1 second, and I bet you're wealthy enough to have that 1 second. Just down below there on your right, there is a button written subscribe. It is in black. Hit that magical button. Then on the left, click that like button, and guess what happens once you do that? You just relax and the YouTube will notify you when I upload a good new video. So let's get into this. So what exactly do I mean that money is spiritual? Yes, indeed, it is spiritual. So I'm going to take you through 5 steps, or the through 5 secrets that actually proves that money is spiritual. Step number 1, or rather secret number 1, that money is a continuous flow of energy. You have to understand this, that money is a continuous flow of energy. Basically means that you have to plow back that money that you're getting so that you can assure yourself of the next generation of that given money. So the problem that you do is that you do not understand that money is a continuous flow of energy, and you usually hold that money into captive. Let me tell you one secret: when you hold the money to captive, you actually control or rule by the mentality of the scarcity. You know, the way we were brought up by the older generation is that they used to tell us that money doesn't grow on trees. Well, it's true, we've proven that, but the fact is they used to tell us that make sure that you save a lot of your money. But that was not the end of the step. You're not supposed to just save, but you're supposed to save and then invest that money. You see, what they implanted into us is the scarce mentality, telling you that money is a limited resource, which is not true. Money is actually out there in plenty, provided you apply the required energy, or the required, what we call the required, steps or something of sort, then you be able, or rest assured, of getting money. Have you ever heard of people saying like there is an individual who earns like 1 million in a day? Let's talk of Kenya, here in Kenya. Forget about the outside the world. There is somebody who is a CEO of a certain bank in Kenya. The guy makes over 1.1 million in a single day. All right. And some of us, or some of people, have ever died in their lives without getting that money in their lifetime. All right. So that tells you there is a plenty of money out there. So it's a continuous flow of energy that requires you to plowing back so that you can assure the continuous generation of that specific money out there. All right. So step number 2, there is something that you're supposed to understand, that you can never save yourself to the riches. That's for a fact. I think that's what matters. The very first step that I said, that they understand very well. You cannot save yourself to the riches, because this mentality of you saying that you have to save and save and save. At the end of the day, you do not have what we call an exit plan. What you're supposed to do, it's not actually saving. It's saving. It's actually a very awkward one. I would prefer saying storing or accumulating. Once you accumulate that money, you plow it back into terms of investment. And there are two things that people tend to confuse. There are two things. There's something that we call investment, and there's something that we call business. When you invest is where the money works for you. When you do a business, you're engaged, and that means that you're working for the money. And that's the two different things that you're supposed to understand. So it needs or requires you to plow that money so that at least you can assure what we call a continuous generation of that specific money. All right. Let's go to point number 3. This is quite an interesting one. There is a certain language, we usually call it a sacred language, that money understands. Basically, it's like saying that money have ears. That's very, very true, because there is a certain language that money understands. And let me tell you one thing. If you do not have that language, or if you've not mastered that specific language, then it tells you that you'll be having a very rough time with money. And this is why you find most of the people complain. Let's say you're employed and you get your salary at around date 2, 3, 4, 5, or whatever the date. And then by the time you're hitting the 17th date, there you are, you're contemplating of you getting an advance, or maybe getting a loan out there just to fund the continuous normal of your life. So what exactly makes you to do that? Because you do not understand that sacred language of the money. And that specific language of the money is what we call the budgeting. Budgeting is like saying it's like the Bible for money. Basically, that is the only language that money understands. Of course, what you have to accompany budgeting is what we call the discipline. You see, budgeting is like telling your money where to go rather than wondering where it went. Because most of the people tend to take a pen and paper later after consuming the money, try to catch up where the money went. Let's say you successfully catch up where the money went, but the point is you can never do anything about it. That's a money that has gone and is no longer on your hands. So the question is this: The moment you get your money, or even before you get your money, always have your budget with you. Have the Bible for the money. Have the instruction for the money. Because money understands a certain language. You having the budget of knowing exactly how much do you consume. Let's say in terms of rent, let's say in terms of transport, let's say in car fuel, loans, debts, and all that kind of a things, the black tax, the school fees, and what have you. So if you put everything on the table, that now tells you exactly, I make 80,000 a month, and what I have on the table as my other consumabilities is 50,000 Kenyan shillings. So meaning I'm left with 30,000. So out of this 30,000, I'm sure I'm supposed to do this or the other. And the thing that I always advise people is this: if you're a future-oriented kind of an individual, I always tell you that make sure that the moment you get your money, the very first thing that you do is to deduct that specific amount of money, which is, I always recommend at least 20% towards saving or towards accumulating for the purposes of investing. Listen, I did not say just save your money. Because again, I repeat, you cannot be able to save yourself to the riches. Saving does not make you wealthy. What you do, you accumulate, you invest, you get the passive, you increase multiple channels of income. That's how only way you become wealthy. That's for a fact. So the point is this: the moment or before you even get your money, and immediately before you get your money, get yourself a budget. Immediately after getting your money, deduct that money is meant for the saving or accumulation. Then after that, then adhere to the budget. That is the only way that the money will understand you, and you actually understand some of the things that you're doing right now are way above your means in terms of survival mechanisms. That's for a fact. It's a language that many people do not understand when it comes to money. So get yourself the Bible for the money. Get yourself the language that the money understand, and then from there and only there, that's the only time that you can have a good moment with money, or otherwise you're gonna rub shoulders with the money. So let's go to the point number 4. The point number 4 is quite an interesting one. Let me tell you one thing. It's actually, you can even deduce it from the Bible. It says that money stops flowing where there is no management. That's for a fact. Money stops flowing where there is no management. Basically means that if you cannot be able to manage your money, basically means that you do not have a budget. You do not know exactly where you should direct your money. It's like the money has that spirit and sense in the nose, like, hey, you know what, guys? We'll be coming to this guy, but this guy does not even know how exactly we are supposed to be managed. And guess what happens? The stops of the flow stops right there. Let me give you a very simple case scenario. Perhaps you can relate with it. Depends on how old you are, how experienced you are in this life. Maybe there was a time that you used to be paid, like, let's say 10,000. All right, you used to be paid 10,000, and life was okay. You are eating, you're dressing, you're paying your house rent, and you're doing some other things. So life was basically okay. I know maybe you were struggling or straining here and there, but life was just okay, right? And then something happened. You were added like 5,000 on top of it. Life was still the same, and maybe the same problems that you're having when you're having your 10,000. You still have those problems. All right. So maybe let's say something added up, and then you have like a double of what you're earning. You got yourself like 30,000. You're still facing the same complaints. You're still talking about there is no money. You're still talking about the money you're being paid is not enough. You're still talking about, oh, I have if every time it's about regretting and wishing, like, if I get this amount of money. And let's say whatever you are right now, you just lucky and you are atop the 1% of the Kenyans who earn above 100,000 a month. So there you are. You're still complaining. You're still saying like life is tough, or I don't know what's happening, what have you. The question is this: what exactly has happened? It's like changing the monkey, but the forest is still the same. Basically means like you've been increased in terms of your earning, but you're carrying your same character that you used to have back when you were earning your 10,000. So what are you supposed to do? The mistake that people do is that you get in your 10K, you get your 15K, you upgrade your game, you get your 20K, you upgrade your living style, you get your 30K, you upgrade like almost everything. It's like, let's say one thing: you're earning 30,000, but you're living 33,000 a year, or rather, you're earning 30,000, but you're living a 33,000 kind of a lifestyle. So at that particular point, you required for you to go and borrow. And let me tell you one secret: even if you're earning 30,000, you're living a 30,000 life. At the end of the day, you cannot be able to. Forget about that door of being rich, actually. Forget about that door, honestly speaking. Let me tell you one secret. If you cannot be able to manage 10,000, rest assured, even if you get 100,000, you will be able to manage that amount of money. You got to instill some what we call the discipline inside of you. So the point is this: money stops to flow where there is no management. So you have to accompany management for your money. You have to understand exactly, this is how I'm supposed to manage my money. This is where I'm supposed to direct my money. And then let me tell you one secret: whenever money realizes, I don't know what, it's like a spiritual thing. Whenever money realizes that we get managed very well, whenever we show up to this guy's house, We are told exactly this is where you should go, this is where you should go, this is what you're supposed to do, and exactly that's what the money loves. And the moment you actually understand that kind of sort of a language or something, then and only then is the only way that you can be able to do exactly what the money loves, and you can be able to retain much of it. Because let me tell you one secret. There is somebody say that you cannot be able to print money, or rather you cannot be able to make money. You take money from people, all right? So the point is this: so at all the occasion, make sure that at the end of the day, you get yourself the full understanding of this secret, so that at least you don't get yourself into messy kind of a life, all right? So we go to the next step, or the last one. This is about a sacrifice. Just take a very simple example. If you're a religious person out there, there's some sacrifices that you need to do, out here and there. Some talk of offering, some talk of sacrifices, tithing, and what have you. Even money has that spiritual aspect of it. You need to have yourself a sacrifice. And the sacrifice aspect of the money is whereby you deny yourself, even if it means denying yourself for the next 2 or 3 or 5 years, for the sake of 40, 50, 60, 70, and the generations to come. So be it. That is exactly how you do it. You see, if you read from the script of life is short, life is for the living, you have to make yourself happy, money is not everything. If you die today, then all the money that you've given. You see, when you start approaching life from that perspective, that's the time you're engaging emotion rather than logical. And the moment you realize that you're making more of emotional based money decisions rather than the logical decisions, then at that particular point you're supposed to know that you're gonna rub shoulders with money. So what you're supposed to understand that it requires of you to have a sacrifice. It requires, and that's why by then you see most of these wealthy people. And let me tell you one secret. Maybe you've never understood this. The sweet part of the money, or the sweet aspect of the money, is not when you're using it. The sweet aspect of money is when you're seated out there, you can afford almost everything. Say you'd like to buy a car right now and you see guys flossing with the cars out there. You know very well, if I would like to get that car, the next, within a click of a button, I can get it. So you don't get even disturbed in any way. Actually, you driving that car, yeah, there's an amazing part of it, but the fact remains that the good aspect of the good feeling with money is that when you know exactly you can be able to afford that. Let's say you show up to a place where people are eating nyamachoma. Very quite simple thing, yeah? Just a food. And then you realize one thing, you are hungry and you are broke. You get to admire almost everything. But if you know at the back of your head, you know what, whatever they're eating right now, if I was to order even double or 3 times of that, then you can just be able to afford it. At that particular moment, there is a certain dopamine that you release, you get contented, and everything becomes okay. And that is the sweet aspect of the money. So the point is this: at all the occasion, it's good to make sure that you understand how the language works. So I've said, if I can just go ahead and recap exactly what I've just said, money is a continuous energy, stops to flow where there is no management. It requires of you having a sacrifice. There is a certain sacred language that money understands, and the other thing, you cannot be able to save yourself to the riches. So you have to understand those 4 or 5 aspects, and if you do, then rest assured, honestly, you being wealthy in life, it's not a matter of if, but when. That's for a fact. Anyway, if this is your first time watching me, my name is Joseph. Talk about money, and I talk about that thing that I know. This one can be able to help you here and there. And by the way, I am not a monopoly of ideas. I believe you got something that you can share with me as well. So the point is this: put that comment down on the comment section, because I'm a believer, just like an iron sharpens another iron, so do we learn from each other. All right. And if you're out there would like to get any of my booklets and copies about business ideas, business, plans, investments like money market fund, treasury bills, and what have you, rest assured I got them ready for you. Just text me on, my number is on the description of this specific video. You get it, you contact me, and we talk business. A copy is only 220 shillings. For now, it's a goodbye. And by the way, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe.